more sales calls. That's what we're going to talk about on today's episode of Uncensored Sales TV. I am your host, Ryan Dowdy, and I help high-achieving women leave their 9-to-5 and build six-figure businesses by mastering their sales skills and their sales conversations. And today we are going to talk about a topic near and dear to my heart: how do I book more sales calls? This is one of the biggest problems I hear from brand new entrepreneurs is I just can't find enough sales opportunities, and I know the importance of sales opportunities and sales calls and getting clients and growing my business. So today I'm going to give you some really actionable intel and how to book more sales calls. And the first piece I'm going to give you, it might be a little annoying or frustrating to you because it's a very obvious choice, but the number one way to book more sales calls is to make more invitations. Period, end of story. The number of invitations you make is important because you're not going to get yes every single time. So if your goal is to book 2 sales calls a week, you can't just make 2 invitations. You have to make more invitations to book more calls, right? And I don't necessarily know what your percentage is, but for me, when I was in the corporate world, if I made 10 invitations and booked 1 or 2 sales calls, that was an awesome number, right? That was an awesome number for me. So if your goal is 3 sales calls a week and you have to make 10 invitations to book 1, that means you need to make 30 invitations to sales calls to book 3 sales calls. Right? So really thinking through what are those numbers and how many invitations that I am making. And usually when I talk to most women in business, they're just not making enough invitations because they're waiting for the exact right moment to make an invitation or the exact right situation. And there will come a time in your business where I want you to be more selective in the sales calls you're getting on, the conversations that you're having. But when you're brand new to business and you're just getting started and these might be your first few sales calls, it's 100% okay to get on sales calls with people that aren't 100% the right fit. I always want you practicing with people that aren't your right fit. I don't want your first sales opportunity to be like the grand slam home run dream client of all dream clients, right? Because you're going to be nervous, because you're not going to have the experience that you need to navigate that conversation successfully. So I want you to practice with a lot of not ideal clients, and I promise along the way you're going to get some yeses, right? So the number one way to book more sales calls is to make more invitations to sales calls. So how do we do that? How do we talk to more people? How do we put ourselves in a situation where we're able to make more invitations, right? So for me, it's always focused more on the outbound activity, right? In a traditional sales world, we did like cold calling or cold emailing or cold outreach in a different way. You are still blessed to live in a world where that's not mandatory for business growth these days. We live in a world where there's a lot of different ways to grow a business that don't necessarily involve having a cold call or cold email, but definitely make sure that you are having conversations with new people every single day. Right? We need to have conversations with new people every single day because if we have to make 10 invitations, we probably have to talk to 100 people to find those 10 people to make those 10 invitations to book those 2 sales calls, right? So we need to book more sales calls, but we actually just have to have more conversations. You've heard me say this before, you'll hear me say it again. Your network is your net worth. The more people that know that you have a business, the more people that know what you do, the more money you will make and the more clients you will get, period, end of story. So I want talking to new people to be part of your strategy every single day. There's tons of videos here on YouTube around how we do that, and you can do this in a very succinct, time-consuming way. We call it, or non-time-consuming way. We call it the power hour, and so definitely make sure you're spending an hour every single day on intentional networking because starting those conversations is going to get you into more sales conversations. Other ways to make sales conversations are simply just to let people know. On social media, when was the last time you just posted on your personal profile and said, hey, I have room for 2 new clients that want to accomplish this thing. Anybody want to have a conversation about this? Right? Like, are you asking? I know you're spending time on social media. I know that's what you're doing. Are you asking? Are you saying, hey, I have room for new clients. Would you like to have a conversation about how I help you? I'm a huge fan of using content marketing too early on in your business. But if you're not letting people know, if you're getting eyeballs, if you're networking, if you're not letting people know that you actually do have open times for sales calls, consults to solve problems for people, they may not know, right? They may not know that that is available. So definitely using your profiles to say, hey, I have room this month to take on 2 new clients that have this specific problem. Send me a direct message if you would like to chat. That is a great way to book more sales calls, right? To just let people know, those people whose eyeballs you're getting. There's also places on social media that you can promote yourself, right? There's some Facebook groups that are promo friendly, meaning you can actually go promote yourself. Go post in that Facebook group. Hey, I have a spot for 2 people who have this problem. Do you want to have this conversation, right? If you're using Instagram, put it in your Instagram stories, right? Create an Instagram reel around booking more sales calls, right? So you definitely want to make sure that you're letting people know that there are sales calls available on your calendar and you're open to have conversations about solving a very specific problem, right? So make more invitations, talk to more people, and then don't forget to use those written tools and assets that you have. The final thing I want to talk about as it relates to booking more sales calls is making sure that you're positioning your sales call well. Nobody wants to get on the phone or on a Zoom call just to be sold to, right? Nobody's excited about a sales conversation, unfortunately. I love to be sold to, but I have found that I am an anomaly in that respect. So really thinking through, what is the value of the call? We have to have a value to our call. So it's not just, hey, let's get on the phone and I'm going to sell you something. It's, hey, let's get on the phone and let's solve a problem together. I'm not proposing that you give away free advice. There's a lot of different mentalities on that, and that's a whole another YouTube video, to be honest. But you want to let people know, what is the value of the call? What are you going to get out of our time together? Right? So if you were to book a call with me, we would figure out why you're not making as much money as you would like in your business. I would be able to diagnose your problem for you. You are not making as much money in your business because of X. And I would be able to do that in a sales conversation very simply. So if you'd like to have a conversation about why you're not making enough money in your business, feel free to reach out. I'd be happy to help you with that, right? But make sure you're selling the value of the call. Why should someone talk to you? Why is that important? What is that value? Because then they know, hey, if I don't buy something, this is a good use of my time, right? People's time is very, very precious, and I always want to make sure that they know that whether or not we get the opportunity to work together, this is going to be a good use of your time, okay? So let's review. How do we book more sales calls? Number one, we book more sales calls by making more invitations to sales calls, by being more open about it, about letting people know, hey, I can help you with that. Hey, do you have that problem? Let's jump on the phone and talk about it. So we have to make more invitations, right? The second way that we do that is just by talking to enough people. If you're only talking to 2 or 3 new people a day, you're not going to be able to make enough sales conversations or sales invitations to get your sales call goal. And then the final way that we do this is we want to make sure that we post about it on social media, wherever you're networking from, whichever platform that you're hanging out, showing up, connecting with new people, letting people know that there's room on your calendar to have conversations about the specific problem that you solve. And then finally, I want you to make sure that you're selling the value of the call. What is the value? What do I get out of spending time with you? I'm going to give you 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 60 minutes of my time. What am I going to get other than a sales pitch? So spend some time thinking about that. And that, my friends, is how you book more sales calls. If you would like to continue hanging out with us, we would love that. First of all, here on YouTube, make sure you tap the bell and subscribe so you never miss an episode. Join us over on Facebook in the Ambitious Women Entrepreneurs Mastering Sales Skills community, on Instagram and TikTok at Uncensored Sales. And if you haven't yet downloaded our checklist of 15 income producing activities in your business, the link is below. Make sure that you do that. I'm going to give you some really tangible ways about tip number 2, which is talking to more people, and we will see you in the next video.